Since 2015, I have used Leica M cameras for event work. Event work as in a professional fashion. In a professional fashion as in paid embassy powwows, corporate conferences, family photography, proms, dances, university reunions, and so on, in and around Tokyo. Prior to that, I used a pair of Nikon dSLRs. Somewhere along the way, I borrowed a mate's M9. Its simplicity blew me away, so did the sharpness of its tiny lenses. The next thing I knew, I was bidding on a used M240 and offloading the Fujifilm cameras I hobbied around with. While I don't think that Leica cameras are necessarily better than Nikon cameras, the things that initially drew me to the M have kept me there. Among them are the following: bright OVF, ease of use, natural eye contact through the non-TTL viewfinder, solid, compact bodies, uniformity of controls between bodies, high reliability and simplicity of software and hardware, native DNG files, amazing branding, and more. As with every photographic, and for that matter, every audiophile product I use, output quality is assumed. The M provides clean high ISO files, sharp images, and great color. But if it supplied all of that in a body that was hard to use, I'd pass. For me, the M's viewfinder is the simplest way to frame a photograph. Its fully integrated shutter speed dial, with detents for the full and half stops, is the easiest to suss on the market. And thanks to the M's bright, non-TTL optical viewfinder, it is a breeze to frame subjects and focus the camera in almost any light. Unlike a DSLR's viewfinder, an M's never darkens based on the lens that's attached to the camera. For their part, DSLR viewfinders never display the spatial, temporal delays, jello effects, image tears, color shifts, banding belts, muddy colors, and more that plague EVFs to some degree or another. Neither do they phase in and out of parallax like a rangefinder does. Mirrorless fans never tire of reminding DSLR and rangefinder users that an OVF can't do the magnify and pan thing like an EVF can. Neither can they show highlight peaks, zebras, clipping warnings, and such. Each viewing method has its ups and its downs. For me, no EVF advantage, be it what you see is what you get viewing, magnify and pan, or other, applies to event photography. I need operational speed and simplicity, viewing and framing transparency, and natural controls. If that can be done with a camera that doesn't strain my eyes, awesome. For all its triumphs in framing, focusing, and haptic simplicity, the M has a few shortcomings that keep it from being a perfect event camera. Largely, these hangups could be eliminated with a few minor adjustments to the body. In particular order, they are: lockable shutter. In 5 years of shooting M cameras at events, I have lost only one frame due to mismatched flash sync speeds. But one time is too many. I guess whilst running here, snapping there, and running another place, I accidentally nudged the shutter speed dial so that it went faster than the M10's maximum flash sync speed. This created a dark line where two heads should have been. The fix? Either put a lockable depress nub on the top of the dial, as you see in an X Pro 3, or like the M10's ISO dial, mount the entire thing on a rising lockable strut. Hard-detent on ISO dial at the A setting. In the field, I rarely change ISO, but sometimes I must switch from one flash to another or suddenly go from flash to flashless. If the venue is sufficiently dark, changing ISO values is a real bugger. Simply put, I can't see the dial value at which I set it. Unlike the shutter speed dial, there is no hard-detent on the A setting. This makes it impossible to count backwards or forwards just by feel. The fix: put a hard-detent at the A setting so that users can count backwards or forwards to the ISO speed they want. For reference, check out the shutter speed dial on the same camera. Quieter shutter. In switching to the M10 from the M240, I was happy about everything but the shutter. The M10's shutter may not be louder than the M240's, but its snick is higher pitched, it echoes more in quiet venues, and in contrast to a few well-damped mechanical shutters out there, it is positively loud. The fix: migrate the M10P's shutter onto the next M, or take a look at what Fujifilm did in silencing the shutter in the XH1. Either one would be a big improvement. Add a programmable button. The M should be simple. The M should be precise. The M should be operable easily with or without gloves. But for events, it would be really great to have another programmable button. I would assign it to flash exposure compensation, or maybe for when the lights go down for ISO. A single button wouldn't break the M's ethos. The fix: bring back the M240's movie button, but make it fully programmable. Internal storage. I've never lost files at a paid event, but I have had SD cards get all political on me and sunset themselves. I know no one needs 2 cards, and those that say they do are deluded, but that simply isn't fair, especially for the professional. And SD cards are notoriously breakable. 3 of mine is disintegrated in the last year, but I could probably bend this thing in half. Yeah, shoot. And one, which has kept the same form, took the political route. I think there is enough space in the M to install another SD card somewhere around here. But even if there isn't, I got another solution. Certainly there's enough room in there to cram in 32 or 64 gigabytes of flash storage, configurable for backup or overflow. A larger battery. The M10 is the slimmest digital M. In fact, it is as slim as an M6. Inside, it houses a partially starved M240 battery. As a consequence, the slimmer battery returns commensurately slimmer battery life. I could shoot an entire event with the M240, chock full of chimping, culling, retakes, etc., and still have 10 to 20% battery left at the end of an evening. With the M10, I have to carry an extra battery. Ideally, one should be able to NATCH 800 to 1000 images per charge. However, when natching like a pro, the M10 returns no more than 600 images per battery. The fix? Simply move the SD card to the other side. This would allow more room for a larger battery. Event photographers that use M's of any stripe are vanishingly few. We carefully choose the cameras that we use, and no camera is simpler to use than an M. Every iteration of digital M has improved drastically. Things like internal storage, larger battery, and programmable buttons are minor things to improve, but things like lockable shutter speeds and ISO dial detents would drastically improve the camera's reliability for event photography. I can't imagine that Leica will see this video. If they do, I can't imagine that they will implement any of the improvements that I suggest. If they did that, they would transform the M from a good event camera into the best or perfect event camera. Thank you everyone for sitting through this one. If you want to support this channel, buy a hat. There's no link in the description, just get... No, I forgot to wear my hat. Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you want to support this channel, buy a hat. The next thing you can do is go to Patreon. I got a Patreon. Basically, I'm doing reviews, and any of the cool images that are in the reviews that I highlight, you can choose at 1080p or 4K, and you get them. It's my thanks to you. I don't know how else to set up a Patreon that's not like, hey, you can get like exclusive chats with Nathan. Who wants to chat with Nathan? No one does. My wife doesn't even want to. My daughter sometimes does. I'll see you later. Hit the bell and give me a thumbs up or 2 thumbs down, Gerald and Dunn style. I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much.